I wanted to talk to you about wetlands. What is a wetland? Well, a wetland is something that can consist of marshes, swamps, or saturated land. Wetlands are mostly low-lying land and are home to many different kinds of wildlife. Wetlands exist everywhere in every country and every climate too. They cover an area that is 33 larger than the United States. Wetlands link water to land and land to water, and they have the most productive ecosystems in the world. The three major kinds of wetlands are swamps, marshes, and bogs. When I was doing research on wetlands, I came up across a website that says wetlands are the kidneys for the ecosystem. So when it says this, it means that the wetlands absorb wind and tidal forces from storms to save the land, or save the drier land than what the wetlands are. And it keeps rivers at normal sea level. It holds floods from reaching the solid grounds and purifies water as through the wetland system. And if you know anything about how a kidney works, it works the same for your body as the wetland does for the earth. And why are these wetlands so important? Because, first of all, they're refuges for wildlife in times of drought. And they are highly productive ecosystems and are able to capture energy to provide food for many animals. It's important to have a wetland environment for animals because the aqua life, like fish, alligators, all kinds of animals and mammals rely on wetlands because the water that they need and the food that they get from the food chain that we talked about earlier in the class, they get that from the wetlands mainly. And without these wetlands, then a lot of our animals, they would start to die off, and everything else would just be a chain because the food chain is just getting messed up. Also, wetlands are they're important to us because we like to do recreation activities on the water, such as boating, swimming, and bird watching. The natural landscape helps provide protection against floods of the drier lands, like I said before. And this is important because when a hurricane comes through and it floods everything, it floods the wetlands first and then moves to the dry land. So if we didn't have wetlands, it goes straight to the dry land and cause way more damage than what they already do. Also, it filters pollution from the water we use. The wetlands takes all the bacteria out of the water and then it produces fresh water. It also supports a wide variety of plants and animals, like I said, and it is a nursery for fish. This is very important because a lot of us, we don't really depend on fish personally, but the animals that we do depend on, they depend on fish. And wetlands are becoming endangered and at a very fast rate. There's speculated that upwards of half of the world's wetlands have disappeared since 1990. Now that's a lot of area after we just said that wetlands make up 33% of the world, which is 33% bigger than the United States. Without wetlands, communities may lose many of its important services that they provide, including water purification, flood control, and food supply. The three major causes of decreasing wetlands are pollution. They can only do so much to clean up the fertilization, the pesticides from the runoff that the the wetlands can only do so much, and after that, they can't take any more of the fertilizers or the pesticides out of the water, and that stems from us, from us being dirty and us not caring about the water or the wetlands. So that's a place where we could start. Also, climate change. The rising sea level is a bad factor, and it is filling up shallow wetlands, which is drowning some species completely. Now, I know we really don't have control over the sea level. Well, us personally, like one person doesn't have control over it, but the climate change is what's causing a lot of rising sea level, which is making the wetlands just disappear, and they're going they're just becoming bodies of water, not even, so there is no marshes or anything like that. And finally, dams is another decreasing factor. Even though the dams alter the natural flow of the water, which can completely kill wetlands and dry lands in that matter. Now, what is being done for these wetlands is some states say they already are making laws that regulate activities of wetlands. By regulation, most coastal states are seeing reduced loss of the lands. This is a good thing because if a state makes a regulation, then you have to follow it, and if you don't follow it, then repercussions are being held. And that's what we need to do to save what we need to save, because if we keep moving at the progressive pace that we are, then soon we're not going to have any wetlands, and that's going to decrease much of wildlife. And also watersheds. I don't know if you're familiar with any watersheds, but I'm from the Chesapeake Bay watershed is a very popular watershed that is always they're striving to protect it as much as they can. And a watershed recognizes the interconnectedness of the water, land, and wetlands, the resources, and results in more complete solutions that addresses more of the factors causing wetland degradation. So this being said is that the watersheds are they try to preserve the wetlands, and they need more help to be more successful than what they are. And even though this is a very big step, it still is in motion of becoming a bigger known thing. And finally, the Clean Water Act is also being done to help everything. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what can you do? Well, the first thing is you can encourage to establish programs near you and make people aware. With this being said, a lot of people don't know about the wetlands and how they're decreasing at a rapid pace. So maybe just by word of mouth, like, well, have you heard about this Conservation Act? Have you heard about this? How do you feel about that? Just conversation with people will make them more aware of what's going on. Another little thing that you could do to help preserve things is you can purchase a federal duck stamp at your post office to support wetland awareness. Now, I know it's really not a big step, but the money will go to help preserving the wetlands. And also, people might ask you, hey, what is that sticker for? And then you can get into a conversation and inform people that way. And also, you can participate in the Clean Water Act. And finally, you can protect your local watershed with support of their organization. This doesn't mean that you have to go to every meeting and you have to stick out whatever they're saying, but you should go and get informed. I know from being around here and living on the Chesapeake Bay, a lot of people are concerned about the water because it's a thing, but in upstate PA, no one's really caring about, oh, well, this water isn't going to make it to the Chesapeake Bay, it's not going to do this. But eventually it does get there, and you have to be more aware and cautious of what's around you and what you're affecting.